Wow.
He's a little sick today.
What the hell just happened?
Anyone that's an event producer, you sign on the dotted line and you start negative 600,000. It's the dumbest business ever.
My event's only on Saturday, brother. I mean, I'm just saying.
And we were like, wait a second.
You're like, we have access to all these
like,
people.
we have-
They're all millionaires and some billionaires.
So we
Wait,
threw
I gotta get to this is like
Sure,
the climax of
go
the
ahead,
story.
go ahead.
This was my oh shit moment. And I'm like, let's tell them we have a keynote. This keynote doesn't exist, by the way. And we just put a blurb and a little clip. 2 days later, they message us back and they're like, how would you like 25 minutes on Sunday on our main stage right after Patrick Ben-David?
No way. Guys, welcome back to the Level Up Podcast. This is Paul Alex. Guys, we have a very special interview here, okay? I'm going to introduce you to a power couple that are in investing. Salsa and bachata dancing. Okay, that's actually one of my favorite hobbies to do when I was in my 20s, guys. You know, nightclub, dance, impress the ladies. Babe, I'm kidding, okay? With that being said, guys, this is going to be a very interesting interview because we actually met at Paul Hutchinson's, the Billionaires charity event here in Miami for the Sound of Freedom movie. As you guys know, we interviewed Paul a couple weeks back. But this power couple is actually going to talk about how they met before the success. All that good stuff. As you guys know, the interviews here are phenomenal. With that being said, welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
We're so happy to be here, and it's an honor. We love your work, and we just want to share our story, so we're excited. Thank you for having us.
No, absolutely. Thank you guys for coming. I know you guys are super duper busy. You guys just had that remarkable event.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we are. We're just coming out of the ashes and like a phoenix. We're here in Miami with 202, just one day in, one day out. But when you gave us the invite, we're like, for Paul Alex, we'll move mountains. We're coming.
All day long.
I appreciate that, guys. So for the people that don't know you, who are you guys? Okay. And where do you guys, tell us a little bit about your background and then what you're currently doing right now.
Sure. I'll start.
Sure. Ladies first.
Ladies first. And we come as a duo always, and so we've worked together now, and we've been married for 10 years. We just celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank
Love it.
you. And we've been together for 17 years working as entrepreneurs.
Wow.
And so...
You could actually say, I'm sorry too, Paul.
And this is how we always love to like keep our relationship fresh. He just makes me laugh all the time. It's just we're always on that vibe. So yeah, we just both of us really connected on an entrepreneurial level because what happened was we were both killing it as entrepreneurs and working so hard in our own merits and in our own skills, and we just magically met. And Lee could probably elaborate a little bit more on that. But what happened was we just converged, and it just skyrocketed us. And so now, we did start as professional Latin dancers. We both found each other when we were already both professional and giving lessons and touring and all that stuff. But what happened when we actually came together, we were getting out of relationships, and we were like, we don't want to like start this long-term relationship thing again. We're just gonna do business and just chill and just like.
Well, that was Kat's idea.
Oh, okay. The truth comes out then.
I mean, business and a little fun too.
Yeah. But we ended up just really hitting it off. We were both working at that point countless hours. I had a 9 to 5, working with lawyers and working with. I share a similar story with you that I started at 15 and a half working because I saw like the value of not just going to school, but also like really like getting hands on.
Absolutely.
And so my journey started with my dad being an entrepreneur and then growing upon that being like, I need to work. I need to make money. I need to learn. Yeah. And so by the time I met Lee, I was already on a 9 to 5 job. I was actually, I actually had opened my own dance studio. So I was an entrepreneur as well. And as soon as I would finish work from 5 to 10, I would also teach Latin dance lessons. Yep. And so it was like a 60-hour work week.
And I would say when I met Kat, I was like, because I've been working as an entertainment entrepreneur from the age of 11. I actually was a professional magician.
Wow.
Wow. He's a little sick today.
That's amazing. You got Emilio bugging out right now. He's just like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah. That's amazing. I always tell people sometimes it goes the other way, so you're lucky.
Yeah.
But,
that would have been awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been a good reel.
It's now a PG-13 show.
Yeah, seriously.
But I started with magic, and, really for me, entertainment, entertainment as an entrepreneur has been something I've been doing since 10 or 11. So by the time I was 13, I was doing magic shows in the Poconos. There was one from Brooklyn, but there was one kid in 7th grade who was like also doing card tricks, and you're like, dude, you're on my turf. But we created this 2-man comedy magic show, and by 16, we were getting hired across the country doing magic conventions. So, which are like geeky white guys doing magic tricks, kind of.
God.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was fun back then in the 90s, and we would go do those magic shows, and then I went to George Mason on a public speaking scholarship, and here we are. We've been on 600 college campuses. We have 7 shows still touring the country. So a lot of entertainment, a lot of entrepreneurship.
So let's go back to you guys are both from New York. Or what part? Where did you guys actually meet?
So we actually met in Northern Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah, Washington D.C. metro area. I've grown up and lived there my whole life.
Okay.
And so let me bring this closer. And so living there, Lee actually transplanted. He went to George Mason. We both went to George Mason University. And so I've always been there. But my mom is from El Salvador. My dad is from Peru.
Yes.
And so they met there in the nation's capital, and then grew our family there. But I'm from Northern Virginia. Lee is from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And, but we're naturally just lovers of traveling.
Yes,
and so
that's true.
honestly, like we have, that bug in us that even now with having 2 kids, 2 babies at that in diapers,
Of course.
we still make it really prevalent to take them with us and do that. So we've kind of evolved as we have evolved as a couple.
True.
We went from Latin dancing, professional Latin dancing, and really being really great business operators and business owners. That was really the crux of it, even though we were in the limelight as professional Latin dancers, to organizers of festivals and major events. And, you mentioned the Find Your Rhythm Investor Summit that just happened 2 weeks ago. And what's happened is essentially as we've leveled up with our stuff that has been happening in our business, we bring everybody for the ride. And we've been telling people, you need to live in abundance. You need to, join this. We love to share what we learn so other people can lift up. And then we, as soon as we started having kids, we ended up going back into like our roots, which was commercial real estate. My dad is in real estate. And so that kind of led us back into this journey of entrepreneurship again.
And it's funny, 'cause
newfound.
as much as we've tried to keep those worlds separate, it's interesting because it's actually like our USP. It's what people, when we do our keynote, which is called Find Your Rhythm, we open up and I flip cat.
Yeah.
And it's like, come up with a better opener than that.
That's a great opener,
it's
man.
a great opener, and this whole concept.
And how many speakers can say that they can flip their wife?
Yeah, that's true.
Not many. I have a bad back. I mean, sorry, babe.
But that's the interesting thing. Like, I mean, we were crazy enough to think about building a investor conference off of a Latin dance festival. But the magic to what we do is really bringing people into our room and having them connect, and we just said, let's just kind of take that energy and bring it to a little bit of a different room. But people are people. They want to experience. They want to have fun. I mean, we had 2 billionaires and the co-founder of Priceline on our party buses going across the city. So it's a beautiful thing when you realize human connection, I think, is really the main thing. And we are naturally, our gift is bringing people together. That's what we do.
Absolutely. You guys are big networkers. I mean, that's why I guess we all got attracted to each other when we were at the charity, because naturally, you guys can communicate, I can communicate, so it's just meant to be. So let's take a deeper dive into actually like the mindset and the psychology of you guys being Latin dancers, you guys making that your niche initially, and then transitioning into real estate. So who had the idea? What was the transition? What was that aha moment? Because for most people, there's a lot of people probably going to be watching this that are like, well, I'm really good at this specific hobby, but how can I make that into a business? Right? People just don't think like that. So I have the perfect couple here that transitioned from Latin dancing to real estate, but then now throwing events and now connected with billionaires. Unheard of. So what was that pivotal time in your guys' life? What happened? Paint the picture.
Oof. You want me to take it or you take it?
I mean, I'll start and I'll let you finish
start.
it because it was really cat-started. But I think for us, when you're climbing a mountain, right? You're climbing a mountain, and we're all trying to attain that next goal or that next level, whatever the level we're trying to get to. There comes like the pivotal moment, and I think for us, it definitely was our kids being born.
Yes.
Ironically, this is being shot on Labor Day. Our son was born on Labor Day 3 years ago. Not to this day, but it was on Labor Day.
Yeah.
Love that.
And
Yeah.
for us, we said, we were on the road 175 days out of the year touring, doing shows. So it was really like our lifestyle was amazing. I think at some points we said, we love our life. Like we're having fun, we're still having fun. But when we had our kids, it was like, that was the pivotal moment where it was our, I don't want to say wake up call, but it was like, okay, now we really got to put this into gear and kind of go back to the roots of, real estate, which is, where Kat's family
Yeah,
comes up.
I think there was a lot of soul searching there because also there was a pivotal moment also that COVID happened. And if you know events shut down.
Yeah.
And so at that point we were just starting to be thinking about having kids.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh my God, our world, we actually were able to pivot because we're just quick like that. And we attribute to our agents also that helped us out, but we pivoted to virtual, which not a lot of people did. People were like busking on social media,
Absolutely.
like entertainers. And
in fact,
it was insane.
we'll give you access to Gringos Can Dance.
Yeah.
Which is, and if you want to have a great date night with your wife, it's called Flirting on the Floor Latin Dance Date Night. 21 moves. So it's like Netflix and chill, but Latin.
Yeah, we
love
didn't
that.
have anything to do during COVID. I mean, the first month it was like, oh, this is just gonna blow over, and like we were just having the best times of our life, having dinner and just chilling. And then afterwards, you're like, oh no, like we need to make money, So that was a pivotal point.
So a critical incident had to happen
Yes.
in order for you guys to be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Was the Latin dancing at that time that you guys were doing? You guys were traveling the world, having a
Yeah.
great time. You love your life. But was that your only source of income at the time?
It was that, and then also producing events.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then DC.
And our shows.
And our
we
shows,
had
yes.
we have 3,000 silent headphones. We have a brand called Shut Up
So
Just Dance.
basically everything around like being in person.
Being in person.
Right.
Yeah.
It was-
H to H, human to human interaction.
Right.
Right.
But
and
there-
everything was shut down. It
all
was
shut
just
down.
like, it
but
was insane.
we had two crazy stepping stones. One was, so we're sitting around, we're talking to our agents, and we're like, our show is called Salsa Magic, which I started in 2002. And the whole point of that was, at that point in 2000, it was like they would get the magic show and then we would do some Latin dancing. And the name just stuck for all these years.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But we were like, what about if we did this lip sync show and called it College Lip Sync Battle? And we just green screened the hell out of our studio. And our agents were like, yeah, let's try it out. And that year, it was actually our highest grossing year in 20 years on the market. We did over 220 universities
Wow.
on this virtual show. There was that. We started a hot sauce brand called Gringuito Sauce. I mean, we had time on our hands, but those were like
Our entrepreneurial creativity also blossomed because you're in just one place, you're isolated, and then we could actually brainstorm together. And
Yeah.
I mean, and Lee is a marketing genius as well, and so it was just such a great vibe. Also, even though it was also like, hey, this is also a wake up call, but it was also like a creative revival at the same time, which is cool.
Combination of things. What I'm hearing is, you guys had your back against the wall.
Yep.
Everything you guys had built, you're like, okay, the world is frozen.
yeah.
Now we have to pivot.
Yes.
As in true entrepreneurship,
Yeah. Yep.
know,
Yeah.
spirit,
Yeah.
you do have to pivot. And you guys were solution driven. So what was that day that you were like, all right, we're going to get into wholesale or we're going to get into real estate?
Yeah. I think we were done basically with the idea of like, okay, this is not going to blow over. And I can't remember like a specific day, but I think what the one thing was that we were already preparing prior to COVID to start a family. And then this happened and we go and we're like, how are we going to do this and sustain a little kid? And then, we wanted to have more kids. And so we're like, how is this going to happen? And
Right.
so I, as mommy, I turned into this mommy mode already before I even had my kids. And I was just like, oh my God, like, I don't want this to happen the same way that my parents happened, struggling. I don't want my kids to, and this is something that I proclaimed when I was like in my teens, right? Where it's like, I'm going to do a step up. I'm going to, like, I see my, at some points in my journey as a kid, as an adolescent, I was taken out of certain activities because they couldn't pay, right? And so I was like, I never want my kids to feel that way ever. So we're gonna be set. We're gonna have all the solutions done. Like, and then we're here, and I'm like, man.
As a kid, it's so
Yeah.
simple.
It's so And then
yeah.
it's like, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I had aspirations, but at the same time, it was like, now it's like, oh my God, we're in our mid 30s now.
Life
and I'm
happens
like,
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we do?
And we both lived a very middle class
Middle-class, yep.
lifestyle, and maybe I'm having a middle life crisis right now. I don't know. But anyway, but at that point, it was like, we wanted to, like Kat said, I think we wanted to find that next level for our kids, and we realized, the entertainment side of things it's a beautiful industry, but there's so many this is my famous saying is like there's no ceiling but there's no floor, right? So you can go as high as the sky, but when things get bad, they can get pretty bad. And anyone that's an event producer, anyone that's thinking of being an event producer out there, it's a crazy business because you sign on the dotted line and you start negative 600,000. It's the dumbest business ever.
The expenses for
but then you're
producing
17 years in.
Thankfully, my event's only on Saturday, brother. I mean, I'm just saying. Billy, close your ears,
hit him in the
please.
heart.
Yeah. I mean, I see, there's, when you have the drive, but after 17 years, you think like, to people are like, why don't you do another event in another city? I'm like, if we are paid to produce it all day long, but it's just, there's so much risk.
A lot of risk.
Yeah, it's a lot of risk.
Capital intensive.
Oof.
Yeah, you're leveraging
Resources.
a lot of logistics, a lot of risk.
Yeah, and it's energy. You're constantly giving energy to the crowd, to the people, and then you're like, all right, this energy is going to come back one day, maybe. So it's part of the journey. But I think the kids, we got 2 dogs like everyone does during the pandemic.
Yep.
They lived, and then we said, all right, we're good.
No, but you're right. Everybody became a dog mom or dog dad.
yeah.
That's right.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
We started fostering, which he thought was. And he was like, "You're crazy," and I'm like, "Well, we need to help and save the planet and like help these dogs in the kennels."
Why not? Why not? They need a home too.
We're busy freaking on
We were going to
entrepreneurs and
farmers
traveling.
markets. Like there were a couple farmers markets open in Virginia. It wasn't like here in Florida where COVID didn't happen. I went on vacation, but in other parts of the country, I guess it existed. And so we were at farmers markets with the dogs, like selling our hot sauce. It was crazy times doing this lip sync show.
I mean, I think the one thing that we always that our strong suit is we lean on each other, and so we always push each other forward. If one of us is like, hey, one of us like is rolling the other person up the hill, and so that's the beautiful part. In our relationship and that in our partnership too, because marriage is a working thing. People think that it's like oh, you're married, and then all of a sudden it's going to be like happy and flowers all day long. Like,
not at all.
It's a compromise all the
Correct.
time.
Yes.
And so we understand each other. We're best friends. And then really when we started thinking about kids, naturally we were, I was freaking out. I was like, how are we going to do this, right? And I wanted to reach a different level. I wanted to be secure, and much like everybody, they want their kids to be secure.
You want stability.
Stability, yes.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. And so that's what really brought me back personally to real estate. Now, because I come from a real estate family, my dad is a broker. He has a residential brokerage. The first thing that always pops up whenever anything happens or whenever there's any downfall in any business or like anything, right? Any problem, my dad goes, get your real estate license, become a realtor again, and do that. And I did that at freaking 18 when he asked me to, and I was good at it, but I hated losing my weekends.
Correct.
And so I was like, no, I can't do that job. Like I did it. I made bank, when I was 18, but at the same time I was like, no. And so I told my dad, I was like, I love you, but I can't get back into that job. I feel there's something else. And then what happened was, I started just working on myself and going on podcasts and seeing what the opportunities was. Now, it didn't take me 1 month to then figure out that I wanted to do commercial. But it took me probably like a couple years to really figure out, and even up until now where it's hitting our stride in exactly working with billionaires, multimillionaires, family offices, sovereign wealth funds. But it's been a journey. It wasn't just like, oh, all of a sudden I tried wholesaling. I tried, I thought about fixing and flipping. Then we renovated a part of our house and we were like, no, that's not going to be us either. So we had to kind of try it and fail. Yeah. But then be like, okay, and not fail, but I mean like be like, I don't like that.
No, fail forward.
Fail forward, right? And then be like, I did it. And we always do things with 110%, but it's not something that was meant for me.
Yeah.
And then
it didn't fulfill you.
It didn't fulfill. And then then we ended up getting into our connections and just relying on conversations with other people. And that's really what opened it up, because before it was like, oh, we're always in this competition mindset.
Correct.
Of like, you know, oh, that person isn't going to talk to me about their business because they see me as a competitor, and vice versa, right? Might be somebody in that mindset. But then when you actually speak to somebody who's in abundance, oh my God, like you have some, and then you start trading notes and then all this stuff, and they could be in the same freaking business as you, but they see eye to eye with you as a friend that like really just wants to push you along, and you help each other. And that really was the key.
And I think kind of the marriage was, we were already at these major events, Formula One, Art Basel, Davos, doing production or doing our programs, our shows. And we were like, wait a second, I didn't drink the Kool-Aid as quickly, because I was just like...
He was in event mode.
I was like, yeah, this is great, but we still have 7 shows touring the country. Someone's got to run the circus.
And this was after we got out of COVID, so everything came back,
Your mind wasn't, hey, let me take this opportunity while I'm at these events and go network for business.
Well, yeah, we
you were just
like,
focused more at the events.
But then,
that makes sense.
I think that light bulb moment was, we were there, and we were like, wait a second.
You're like, we have access to all these people.
We have...
They're all millionaires and some billionaires.
And so, you know, it's like I started carrying like my Fire wallet, and because I stopped doing magic, by the way, for probably until Liam was born, his first birthday. And she's like, we're going to hire a 40-year-old magician. I'm like, hell no, I'm the effing 40-year-old magician.
I could do it.
And he's great at magic.
Yeah,
oh my God.
And we started like we're like, let's just go into the room, and all of a sudden we were like, holy crap, we had no idea.
Oh my
like
God.
It's almost like we could have figured this out a decade ago.
Yeah.
We just weren't looking. And
oh my God, I just remembered that one event. Remember, you actually wore, I think, this same jacket.
This is my lucky jacket. Yeah.
Oh my God, and
this jacket, I got it. Yeah, you're gonna tell the story.
Yeah. Well, you could tell the second part. I'll tell the first part. So the first part, what I was gonna mention is like when we went to that event,
I have more than one jacket, Paul.
And many rhinestones. And so what happens was basically, you know, I was doing this commercial real estate thing, and I'm going and I'm like, I'm gonna be in this, and then I realized like I'm the only woman, and usually only the minority in the room in a lot of these conversations. And we're talking like at some point I got into just great mentorship and great friends with people that were doing bigger business. And it vibed a lot better with my personality and what I wanted to accomplish, not on the money side, but because of the connections. It was a lot of respect there.
Right.
There was a lot of I'm not gonna cut you out. This is about abundance, not competition. And so it was a good place for the love that I had to share, right? Because sometimes you need it to reciprocate. And when you start to feel that from other people, like then you really start to lift up. So a lot of times people ask and they're like, well, how do you become friends with a millionaire? No, it's about becoming friends. Forget the money side. It's about like, there could be millionaires that are horrible. There could be people that are just amazing, but you have to find your tribe, because there's every single type of person. So anyways,
so you brought me as your wingman.
Yeah, I told him, I was like, I really need you, because I was feeling very like not confident in my own skin as well, because it's a new thing.
And that's okay.
Young, It
happens.
Yeah, and I was just like, and I was being vulnerable, and I told Leah, I was like, I need you there. I need you to be my wing guy. Like, I need you to like.
What are your thoughts?
So I find the I don't have many jackets I can wear to a business meeting. You know, think Latin dancer, magician. It's something sparkles. But I wore this jacket, and this guy Paul came up to us and he said, "I love your jacket." We started a conversation, and that conversation opened the door to Pavan, which literally it opened for the first year. It literally opened up our entire circle.
Yeah,
and I mean, more than the jacket, but the point is it was just a lot of magic happening.
And he was like. When we got out of that event, so we went to this event. It was a lot of ultra high net worth people. We were there to really network and amplify one of the deals that we were working on, which was ground up construction for multifamily, 780 some units. And then we went there and we're like, we're gonna find somebody to help further along this business. And then so I'm like, I need you to be my wingman. You go this way of the room, just like we would work a room in a dance setting. Like you go dance over there on this side of the ballroom, I'll go stand on this side, and then we'll meet sometime in the middle and converge. And we worked it that same way.
Yeah, and she cared, and I didn't give two craps.
I cared too much. I cared too much about what I was gonna say, how I was gonna say, and he was just like, I'm just gonna be Lee.
The flow.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like magic tricks rolling through.
That's the best way to do it. Mind you guys, for majority of these interviews that we do on this podcast, we literally just go with the flow.
Yeah.
No.
Which is the best way.
Because some people, they're like, dude, how do you think of like all these questions and ideas to ask your people. Like they're like, I would be so nervous. I was like, nah, dude, you just do it so many times that it just comes out naturally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But quick question, just to go back to actually letting us know that you weren't feeling 100% going to these events by I think that's powerful. I think that's very powerful because a lot of people, they're not even willing to go to their very first business conference because they feel like, well, I'm not prepared. I'm not a millionaire.
Yeah.
I'm not even an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
They might be a 9-to-5er. They might be working at, we had a guest the other day here that worked at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
And he was just like, dude, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was in such a, a time in my life that I had so much pain that I forced myself to do it. So it feels like you guys were put back against the wall.
Yeah.
And you guys are like, we're going to make this happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is like, so here's the moment I freaked out. Fast forward about 8 months from there, we were going to go to Clever Summit, which happens right here in Miami, outside Miami.
It's a real estate conference. Yep.
Yeah, real estate conference. And we're part of Sub 2, so we ended up getting this free ticket. So this guy Malachi calls us, and he says, hey, why don't you upgrade to VIP? And I was like, that's amazing. I was like, maybe we can add some value to your guys' conference. So I go with the reverse sell.
I love that. So guys, you see what Lee just did there? He said, let me add some value.
Yes.
See, most people, when they go ahead and just like you guys said earlier, how do you make friends with a millionaire? You had that friend that asked you that, right? And the right approach is like, no. You don't want to make friends with millionaires. Yeah. You just want to make friends.
Yes.
Because you never know where that relationship might lead. That one person might not be a millionaire, but guess what? They might know a room full of multimillionaires. Yeah. Yes. And that's how it happens.
Yeah. And that's exactly what's been our vibe. It's like we've been attracting. So we
Wait,
throw.
I got to get to this is like the climax of the story.
Go
This
ahead,
is just the
go
beginning.
ahead. We're trying to go deep.
I'm
You
sorry.
wanna tell
This
your
is. I just want to tell you.
I've been holding it in.
I know my husband's
I've been
story.
holding it in.
This was my oh shit moment. So we go back and forth, and I'm like, he's like, all right. He's like, look, I don't. I'm like, we'll buy the VIP. So I want to give. I know he's making a commission, but I'm like, get us that email. So he gets us the email. And I'm pitching our silent headphones, this experience. And then I'm like, you know what? Let's tell them we have a keynote. This keynote doesn't exist, by the way. We're going to call it Find Your Rhythm. We're going to talk about our journey as Latin dancers and how we moved on to real estate. Boom. And then we just put a blurb and a little clip. And then about 2 days later, they message us back, and they're like, how would you like 25 minutes on Sunday on our main stage right after Patrick Ben-David?
No way.
Yeah, and that was our first conference that we ever spoke on a stage. I mean, we've been speaking on stages our whole life, right? But speaking on a stage to realtor and entrepreneurs, that worried me. Now, we were in Miami, right outside of Miami, so we had our world champion friends, so we kind of brought it all together. But I was freaking out because I'm like, holy crap! Now,
it's on,
and I think it's the greatest upsell. Like it was. That's an amazing thing to happen. But if you're not afraid, if you can't be afraid to ask. He's not
afraid of asking. Yeah.
But sometimes you're going to ask and then you're going to receive and then you have to deliver. Yeah. And so that was my oh crap moment.
That's great advice there, man. I mean, what you took is imperfect action. Because majority of entrepreneurs, I deal with a lot of beginner entrepreneurs that do business with me and my associates. And the number one thing that we see is like, well, I don't think, I'm not ready. Yeah. I'm not ready. But see, you went ahead. You're like, hey, I want to add some value. Give me the emails. On the spot, you thought, hey, let's do a keynote, even though we may not be prepared, but let's see what they say. Yeah. You execute it, and then, boom, you got it. Yeah. I love that.
It was insane. And you know what's crazy? That was a pivotal moment also personally for me, because what happened there, it was almost like second nature, because I was speaking on a topic that was about like leveling up, and it was about basically amplifying, and kind of what we're talking about here, where it was like get into that mindset. And the second that I stepped on that stage, like usually as a dancer, you always have butterflies no matter what. When you step on a stage, you're doing a pose and you're doing a 3-minute routine, I've always had butterflies or like, some nervousness, right? When I stepped on that stage, I felt so confident, Yeah. Lee was a little bit more like, okay, like he's a production guy. He's like fixing our slides. I'm like cool as a cucumber. I'm like, whatever happens up there happens. Like, I'm good. I got this. And
Yeah.
it was like a pivotal moment that it was like, okay, like I've been working at this for several years now. Like I'm supposed to be on this
I'm ready.
stage.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
ready.
yeah.
And I was just like,
And-
and then we flipped and it was beautiful and dancers.
And
it
you
was
know
great.
the whole your network is your net worth. So Kobe Sperber, right?
Yeah.
He owns that event, and Pace Morby had just spoke at our conference, and we thanked Kobe backstage right after we went on, and he's like, "Don't thank me." He's like, "Thank Pace Morby," because I
He
called him
vouched
being like,
for
who the
us.
hell are these guys? And
Shout out Pace.
Pace vouched for us.
Yeah.
That's the way
So,
it goes, man.
You know, so
Pace is a
insane.
master networker.
yeah, and he was just
That's
at our
right.
event. Like he had been on our stage. So the point is like if you stay in the game, you may not be on the field.
Yeah.
But you just stay in close proximity, good things are gonna happen.
Yeah, and I mean it's a cliche saying, and I always say this: the most cliche things that we heard growing up, it's always true. You know, your
Yes.
network is really your net worth. It really is.
Yeah.
Because if you guys were in Sub 2, which is Pace's mastermind group, correct?
Yep.
He
Owners
wouldn't
Club.
he wouldn't have
Yeah.
vouched.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes, and that directly ties into investing in self-education,
Yes.
investing
Yes.
in yourself,
Yes.
investing in mentorships.
Yes.
Because if that connection would have got you that deal, and that's a big keynote, man.
That's
Usually, guys, for beginner entrepreneurs, you guys are watching this or listening to this, those big keynote speeches at those conferences, they go for literally tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the size of the
Easy.
audience,
Yeah.
who the presenter is, who's running the
Yep.
event, easily, right?
And not even that, the competition is hot. Like
Yeah.
it's like if you get past the competition,
Correct.
you know, it's like there's so much.
Yeah.
But the other thing is like with Pace and with these communities and everything, the one biggest thing is like the access also, like you're talking about paying mentorships, and I was always a skeptic. I'm like, I'm not paying a guru that I can get like the same YouTube content for free and all that stuff.
love
like
that.
like,
I love that. Many of you guys are listening. Yeah, you go, girl. Go, cat, go.
no. But then I switched modes. I was like, the skeptic, and then I actually paid to play, and it unlocked a lot of shortcuts. And that's really what it is. You can go the long way and try to figure out your own road and dig your own path. But then if you actually have somebody like a Pace to lift you up, if you like all of our billionaire friends, like that's the beautiful thing. When they came to our conference, they actually were there because they wanted to add value to our audience.
Yeah.
And actually, and what was the most beautiful thing is we picked the people that were the go-givers, the people that vibe with us, the ones that share in love and abundance.
Yeah.
And what happened was basically they were out in the crowd like majority of the time. So the audience, the raves that were on the reviews were like, I can't believe that I just spoke to 7 billionaires at your conference and multiple multi-millionaires and family offices because they were just in the hallway and they wanted to talk to me. Like, how do you get that kind of access? And I'm like, honestly, it's just love and abundance. I show them love, they show love back, it reciprocates, and they're here now.
Value.
It's freaking insane.
Paul, earlier you were saying, for your fans and people that are watching, how do you take that that passion project and convert it into something? And really, I was just thinking about this, but whatever you're into, whatever that passion project is or whatever that foundation is, once you build the foundation, it's concrete, right?
Yep.
It's always there. So that is a piece of who you are. It's your aura, it's your essence. And that could be the unique. If Kat and I were just going at Clever Summit because we're like, we're talking about our journey as entrepreneurs, like there's no hook. So fine, even if Latin dance into real estate is pretty unique, right? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But then you find your rhythm investor, the beat to finding your business, you can play,
That's
ChatGPT
what
is a
makes you
beautiful thing
special,
even
man.
before.
That's what makes you guys special. Yeah.
And the other thing is the other thing people get hooked on to like their Instagram name or their this, like you can evolve. Like it didn't take me, it took, I had to go through the steps. So it's like, if you don't like try something and then pivot, just because you change your logo, you're not going to lose all the people. People they're in love with the person, not with the freaking logo or the website or the this. And people get hung up on that all the time as starting entrepreneurs.
Personal brand.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Personal brand is like, poof. I mean, it's like a cliche to say that, but that's really what it is. Like it is.
I
Yeah.
always say, because I mean, you guys have done quite a few things now. Now you guys are hosting these massive events in business, and you guys just did your first one, correct? Combined with the salsa and the
third year.
bachata dancing and all that
Yeah.
jazz, right?
Yeah.
Which is great because I mean that takes me back to I'm like, dude. I haven't gone Latin dancing in so long, and my wife's like, after the babies, we're going Latin dancing. I was like, babe, it's perfect now. We're able to go to this conference.
August could be like your first trip, or the baby with December, that'll be like 8 months.
Yeah, dude, it's perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Come right
timing.
back out to DC.
We will.
And the beautiful thing was that convergence. So this is actually the third year we're producing it. And what happened last year, which we loved, was that there was a convergence of our rhythm investors, which are part of our Find Your Rhythm Summit, a Wealth Summit, into our DCBX festival, which we produced for 17 years. Now it's going to go on 18 years. And what ended up happening is you see the Latin dancer, you see these high-level performing athletes in salsa, bachata, kizomba, zouk, all these different genres, representing their countries, representing their teams, representing where they came from, everything, and showing these multimillionaires like another level of expertise. These are experts in business.
Yeah.
These are ninjas and titans in all these real estate and commodities and private equity and all that kind of stuff. And then you see the freaking titans that use their bodies to freaking kill it on the stage. And so they both valued each other also, and there was a nice convergence, and then they can also work together. So what ended up happening after the aftermath, now we're 2 weeks out, is that all of our friends are doing deals together.
Wow.
And for us, it's gratifying, it's beautiful, it's wonderful to see somebody supporting somebody else. But then also as connectors, we're building our ecosystem as well.
Yeah.
And so when we have our specialty, our unique edge is like the entertainment side, bridging those gaps. We've had a little bit of just in film and other parts, but those kind of connections that we built over the last 17 years are coming back now. So somebody that we were touring in Poland. We were touring all over Europe at some points. Like, those are key people that now we're reconnecting with and rekindling and being like, hey guys, by the way, now we're in real estate, commercial real estate, and we're also doing private equity. Hey, we're helping startups, we're helping businesses fund, like all these different things that we're doing here. Is there anyone you know in your circle? And all of a sudden the world just becomes so freaking small.
Yeah.
But you have to
it
have the
does.
conversation.
Yes.
And that's where entrepreneurs sometimes are scared. They don't want to have the conversations because what's the worst that can happen? You can get a no, or you feel bad, but then you get the vibration of the next person that will lift you up, and then it's like that you forget about that moment tenfold.
We have a lot of times, because I think we are definitely super connectors. We know how, and people are like, well, how do you meet these? Where do we start? That's something where a lot of people say.
I think that's a good point.
And then,
yeah.
so this is a little golden nugget, right?
Yeah.
I don't care if you're in Peoria, Illinois, and if you are, I'm sorry.
Stop it.
Having been to almost
He's been there
650
many
cities across this
times, I'm telling
country,
you that.
and George Mason, our arch rival in public, I was there on a public speaking scholarship. Our arch rival was Bradley, which is in Peoria. But anyway, long story short, wherever you think there's going to be a convergence of high net worth people, whether it's the local country club, whether it's a private club, a cigar lounge, that's the start. That's where you're going to start to connect with people that are doing bigger things, and that's why deals get done on golf courses and at Davos and at Art Basel.
And I don't even like golf. Like, I don't but I'll go. I'll go and I'll have a drink and have a good time and have good conversation. And really, it's about the people that are there. It's really about the people.
So get in the room. Go to the Ritz, sit at the bar, have a conversation. I will give this last story because I think this is another important one. We were at one of our number one family offices. They have a $2.5 billion portfolio. We were at the Formula One. We get into the elevator in the Palazzo, walk in these two gentlemen. We were dressed up nice. They were dressed up nice. They had name tag that said IHG Family Office something. We said, oh, you're here for a family office event. We had a family office that had $200 million to offshoot into hotels. Conversation. We got off on 47. They got off on 47. We're like, let's have a drink. They're like, no, come to our suite. That relationship started in an elevator at the Palazzo. We went and drove Lamborghinis the next day on the Vegas Speedway. We karaoke'd. 6 months later, Shoot invited us to his daughter's wedding in Montenegro.
Yep.
They're some of our best friends.
We hang out with them all year
and
long.
again,
All year long.
This is the classic elevator pitch. If we don't open our mouths and have that conversation, if we're not at the Formula One, if we're not in that elevator, if we waste that 40 seconds, it's a change. So don't be afraid to start the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. You never know what door it might lead to. You know, when I first got in digital marketing in 2020, my first mentor, he was actually from Amsterdam. And I actually invested in him because even though he was probably 10 years younger than me, he knew what I didn't know, which was digital marketing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I feel like now people are like, they're starting to learn more about the e-learning space and masterminding. I mean, come on, guys, when we were growing up, who used the word mentor?
Yeah, exactly.
No one,
Exactly.
right? But we did have mentors.
Yeah.
Our parents,
Yes.
coworkers, supervisors that would be like, hey, this is how you do it properly.
Yep.
That was a mentor, right?
Yeah.
So I had a ton of them.
Yeah.
But just to go cut to chase, that same mentor, that the very first one that I invested, 3 years later, I get to speak at a keynote in Lisbon because of him in front of European consultants. I'm like, this is pretty badass.
Amazing.
So awesome.
And then after, we're driving race cars around Lisbon. And I'm like, dude, this is amazing. You got, I don't know how much money they had, but you had teams of people flying there in their Porsches to go race on this racetrack. I'm like in awe, like, I can't believe this is my life.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's because
that's great.
I invested into someone.
Yeah.
So
That's
very
right.
similar.
That's
Very
right.
similar. You guys are in an elevator. You guys are like, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and talk to them. What's going to be the worst case scenario?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
And
Right.
also on the receiving, they could have just shrugged and said, yay, nay, but they had such a warmth to them, and
Energy.
shoot,
We knew
Shoot sat on-
those were our people. Like
Yeah.
that energy, and
Yeah.
it reciprocated. And we've hung out with Shoot and Sartaj so many, and their family is so beautiful. And it's like, we've been afforded some awesome opportunities and that kind of thing. But the other side, because there's a lot of introverts too, and I considered myself an introvert for a long time. Now I'm starting to.
She also
I
says
can
she's
play
not
both.
a she says she's
I can
not a
play
public
both.
speaker.
Yeah,
I'm both.
I'm both.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a lot of similarities actually. But
I mean, we are half
I'm
Peruvian.
very
yeah,
introverted.
That's right. So I could be a very introverted, I could be extroverted, but on the introvert side, like I can see people that are like, even I can even see family members like in my head being like, well, I'm never gonna like go up to somebody in an elevator and talk to them, right?
Yes.
Then collaborate with somebody because if you vibe with somebody, it could be anybody from your circle, your close friends. If that person has a gift of gab and they can like do that, make them your partner. Like collaborate with them. That's really how a lot of these things are happening with our billionaires, our multimillionaires, because they value that. Because it's not about like, oh, what do you have? It's not like anything of that. It's more like, what value can I give you to give me so we can amplify and spread our message even more?
That makes
And
sense.
so you think that you take that to the granular level to the small business person. And what we're not doing there in our communities a lot is not collaborating because we think we're all competition. And so I see that in
It's a lot of separation.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and not talking about
Yeah.
things, and so we need to get past that so that then we can really amplify each other and help each other out. It's
And we just finished our conference and we took a week off, and we have our our crew that are helping move these deals along, and we come back like 2 weeks later and there's so many deals where we're the captains of the ship. And of course, we're creating an incredible experience, but we can't be on every floor. And so to see that motion happening, you have to, I've been a one-man show for a long time.
Yeah.
And then we were like a two-person duo, and I think we've done a lot. But at some point, you're going to hit that plateau where you're like, okay, there's only so much you can do. And now with AI and ChatGPT and, Upworks. I mean, if there's any time in history where you can literally leverage bringing people power at a low cost, this is the time.
Yeah.
So find your tribe, build the tribe,
Yep.
and collaborate.
I want to ask you this, guys, question. Just hearing your story, it's amazing. Would you guys consider your partnership one person's the visionary and one's the implementer?
So I don't know. I you know what's crazy for me is I'm really not a conformist. Like I like to challenge things, and I hate labels. Even the mentor thing. You know why I don't want to be a speaker? Because I see that label as a speaker, and I'm like, I don't want to be the guru, right? So
I mean, but
I'm like,
it just goes to it. You're
yeah.
under that umbrella.
Yeah. Like so, I'm like every time somebody is like, who's the visionary and who's an integrator with us? I'm like, man, I don't know, because I thought for a long time like he was visionary and I'm integrator, and now that we've kind of really dived really deep into like commercial real estate and then also commodities, private, all the big deals that we're doing right now, like it's like we're both leading different fronts, so we're almost like multifaceted visionaries and integrators.
Yeah.
And it's not like I can't label myself as just an integrator anymore, because that's what I used to do for DCBX. I would do all the behind the scenes. I would run the volunteer program, 300 volunteers, all the back end stuff and everything.
Which, by the way, is a 4,000 person event
Yeah.
with people from 50 states and 19 countries.
Oh, it's
4
massive
days
event.
of 200 classes, Grammy-nominated bands, world-famous parties that go to 8
freaking
a.m.
crazy,
I mean,
yeah.
it is a machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kat definitely had the harder job. I am not an integrator by any means. So I'm the visionary guy, but Kat is a visionary. She's just a visionary that also understands how to put the pieces of the puzzle in place.
Hybrid, which
Yeah.
which is great.
I think I'm more of a hybrid. Yeah. And
I'm not
but
a hybrid.
He can't be a hybrid. You are straight visionary. Yeah. He doesn't read the instructions, and so I'll read them.
Yeah, I make the instructions. I had a saying. I said, I don't stand in lines, I make them.
I love that. I love that. No, me myself, very early on when I left law enforcement, I found out about myself the hard truth that I'm a visionary guy.
Yeah.
I'm not an implementer. I'm not. If you were to tell me like, hey, dude, like, what are the finances on this part, or what is the process on this, or what are the SOPs? I'm like, to be honest, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like, I hire somebody that's smarter than me to
That's
go ahead
right.
and do it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So I think
Yeah.
working logistics is a very hard job.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
But visionary, in the very beginning, I like to start the fires.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and start these fires, right? So I have to have that person that's overseeing like basically the ideas and to make sure like, hey, dude,
Yeah.
like let's just continue to focus on the
Yeah.
main source.
But it's all at some point it boils down to finance, money.
Yeah.
Obviously,
it does.
money buys us time, and
Yes,
that
it
time
does.
to focus on the things you're good at. But when you're grassrooting an event, I mean, there were years I feel like we cleaned bathrooms, set up dance floors. Like I tell our crew,
Did
I
everything.
say, at some point, I know this may suck, but just remember, Lee and Kat, the metaphor is like, imagine we are like a 2-person football team that 9 months out of the year, it's just us playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you guys come in, we get a full team the last 90 days, and
Yeah.
you're fresh, and we're
Yeah.
tired as hell.
Yeah.
And now we're balancing that out. But revenue is the magic, right? Finding that investor, finding someone to believe in you, setting up that SPV, all of those. Gosh, I feel like I'm talking the.
Oh my God, he's talking of lingo.
She finds it so sexy when I'm like investor, but because I've been slow to drink the Kool-Aid, even though I have now. But it's the financial part is so important, right? So
Yeah.
how can you level up? How can you build more money so you can do exactly what you're good at, not what you have to do
Yeah.
because you don't have the money to actually pay someone else to do it.
No, absolutely. And I think the number one pain point for a lot of beginner entrepreneurs is the money.
That's
right?
right.
They're like,
That's
I don't
right.
have any money to
Yeah.
go ahead and
Time,
invest.
money.
I don't have. So, I mean, I always say there's 2 options, right? It's either find people with the money
Yep.
or just go ahead and just do what I did. 80 to 100 hours a week
Yep.
on what you can do. Save up and then invest in your own money. Bootstrap, right?
Yep. Yep.
Question. So you guys have built teams. What is the biggest team you guys have built?
Oof, I think that would happen with DCBX. We've only built a very small team of 20 people.
20.
Now, 20 people that work very hard and do multiple jobs and multiple, and all of our people that we have, oh my God, they've been with us for years. I think the longest has probably been Randy, and Randy's been with us almost the whole ride.
16 years.
Yeah, 16
Wow.
years. And so
That is awesome.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
senior events manager Sandra, shout out to Sandra, she's freaking amazing. She's been with us, I think, like going on 9 or 10 years now. I
Amazing,
think 9 years.
amazing.
And so what we do is we debrief after every event. We make sure that everyone has an understanding of everyone else, because also working in events and the events industry, there's all types of people. Of
course.
And so you have to know how to work with people. And so that team is definitely one of our strengths and has taught us a lot. But then doing events in general, having 4,000 people in the house, that's also another task.
It's almost like they're a team. They're like a big, massive energy that you have to manage. I will say this:
Under your care, really.
What's
Yeah.
interesting now is all of these collaborators that have come to the Find Your Rhythm conference. like they're like, hey, we want to be on the Lee and Kat team or the Kat and Lee team, and that's beautiful because we're like, wow, you know, all these years of pitching and like having to pull people in, they see the value, they see the magic. You know, Lori, like she came to us after at DCBX and she was tearing and she's like, I never get like this, but she's like, there's such a genuineness to what you guys are producing here. There's such like, and she started like tearing and she's like,
and this is a woman who is so well accomplished, doing deals all over the world, and for her to say something of that nature and for her to be touched in that nature, I mean, this woman has done multi-million-dollar deals.
Yeah, we had the amazing capitalist of the year of India, Dr. Bishna, on our party bus, you know, and she's like, you know, she's like, it's so beautiful. Like as much as DCBX when we started it stands for Do, Connect, Be, and Experience. So we had a film festival within the event for 7 years called the Global Impact Film Festival that had films that short films that made a global difference. We had a one-day entrepreneur conference. So we were trying to build like the South by Southwest model, but a little bit more on the cultural diversity vibe. So doing multiple things at once is something we obviously flourish at. But this idea of building an investor conference off a Latin dance festival, it was quite a few cocktails one night before we were like, well, you know what? We already have this event. We've already paid for the hotel. Shit, why not bring a bunch of investors in? And like, we'll open the show with a Latin dance. And it's like, how's that going to actually work?
And people thought we were crazy.
They thought they were crazy.
Oh, they thought we were crazy. They're like, how are you going to mesh these two? We're even to this day, we're only in our third annual, right? Even the third annual, some of our associates were just saying, hey, you're going to put all these entrepreneurs and all these billionaires and multimillionaires in the same room? What? Like usually, like you should be charging $1 gajillion. I'm like, no. These entrepreneurs actually need mentors like this that are not only like one step ahead, but like 20 steps ahead of them, because they also have a lot of knowledge. Like, shout out to Julio Gonzalez, who he's he's helping businesses with like grants from all over that are untapped, billions of dollars that go straight to freaking all these Fortune 100 companies just because they know how to write the grants.
Well, they have the grant writers.
They know that and these small entrepreneurs, the small businesses like my dad, like our families, our friends, like that all need the money. They can't access it because they can't write the grants. They don't want to sacrifice the money to actually pay somebody to do that. You know,
Right. It's expensive.
It's expensive,
Yeah.
and so like all these things now, what we're doing is bridging that gap between all these entrepreneurs and the ultra high net worth, but the ones that want to share their journey, the ones that have the love and the abundance, the ones that want to be like, okay, you know, I'm going to give you time. What do you need? Okay, maybe I'm not the right, you know, this billionaire might not be the right person right now to mentor you personally one-on-one, like the care that you need, but maybe there's somebody along the line that I can introduce you to.
Right
that
now,
you can collaborate with. That's also in your same journey that you guys can help each other out, you know? But the other side, going back to the receiving, is sometimes entrepreneurs need to be ready to receive also. And that's the only thing that I think is a hindrance for a lot of people that are like, I need to level up, but you know, I put myself in the way. That was me. Like I was putting myself in the way. We thought DCBX was going to be our legacy.
I think it is a piece of our legacy.
Well, we thought that was the end of our legacy, I should say. Like we were going to do that forever. This dance conference that gets thousands of people, and we were going to be world renowned for that. And we are, but it wasn't the end. Yeah. Like our chapter opened up after we started to think about kids and then surrounding ourselves with individuals that were like, guys, you guys have a lot more to give.
To simplify.
Like imagine that gift that we got. Like that's why I'm such on a high still from this event, because I'm like, I want other people to feel that gift. You know?
To simplify it,
So
I think we help entrepreneurs, businesses, startups find their rhythm. And it's an open statement, right? But it's really, everything has a beat, everything has a frequency, everything has a rhythm. And it's interesting because some of these new deals that are coming to us, they happen to do with, we have Davi, which is headphones they're like $27,000 headphones. They're like the Bugatti of headphones. But it's like we're finding deals that actually happen to do with music and rhythm. We're working with the World Cup coming up. And so that's our journey. That's the rhythm we're rolling. But everyone has a different vibe. And those billionaires, the 7 of them that stand on the stage, and Lee and Kat, not billionaires, not yet. But we had a part where we let the audience, it's like, what's going to be your $1 billion moment it's not always about the number. It's how you can take that step from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 8 to 10, right?
The small wins.
Don't do the math. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, guys, let's say we have people listening to the show and they're like, hey, do you guys do any type of mentorships? How can they get in connect with you guys?
Yeah. No, we're not gurus.
Yeah.
No. We love collaboration, and so on that side, you guys can follow us on our Instagram, and for sure we'll be having a lot of high-end events where we're bringing together entrepreneurs with all of our amazing friends that want to give. That's upcoming, and that's going to be all over the country and also all over the world. And so we have East Coast, West Coast events already in the books, and then we have also Europe
and Davos,
and a lot of other
so
places,
it's at Rhythm Investor or rhythminvestor.com. And really our focus, we have our conference in August, which is our big one. But what we thought was, we said, wow, why not bring people on the journey to these incredible events? Now, we can't bring 500 people, but 30, 40, 50 people that want to really experience these high-level events, which, by the way, if you hang out with us, you're going to have fun. There's going to be dancing. There's going to be, diversifying. There's going to be, we're going to make sure you have fun. But also there's going to be just a wealth of knowledge in the room. And how can we as a unit do deals together, share it, everyone eats a little bit, and bringing them along for the journey so we can find that rhythm together.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Rhythm Investor. Let's go.
So Lee and Kat, what are a couple words that you want to tell to the audience that people are going to be downloading this episode to level up? If they're, let's say, in the beginner stages of trying to find their rhythm, what would you tell them?
Yeah. So if you're trying to find your rhythm, I would definitely lean in on collaboration. I would lean in on speaking up and asking the right questions, not even the right questions, any questions, and making sure that you are true to yourself and that you're true to who you want in your vibe and your tribe. Because that is also, we have to realize that it's not even about that person, it's about us and what we want to receive. And so as starting entrepreneurs, you have to open that door so that you could walk through it and then see what's on the other side. But without doing that, we can't find our rhythm, we can't explore, we can't open our minds. And so the biggest gift that I can give you guys is, as budding entrepreneurs, I've been there where I'm like struggling and I don't know where to start, and you don't know where to move forward, this left, right, back, forward. You need to just keep moving forward and really lean in on the power of connection, because I think that's getting lost nowadays. And honestly, that's really where a lot of our experience, we've leveled up.
Thank you, wifey, for saying everything. But I will, I think it goes back to my journey, and when you have a gift, and I think that's what you have to think about. As an entrepreneur, I don't know what the statistic is. Paul probably knows of how many times you're going to change your ideas, but I remember back in the day, it was like you're going to change your profession, like it's like 7 times, right? Mm-hmm. I think as an entrepreneur, that's probably 70, right? Because the wheelhouse is always going. You're always going to change ideas, but the one thing that is consistent is you, right? And so what is that piece of you? Like for me, it's magic. It's just very sexy hair. It's
the hair.
Wearing these fun jackets. What is the essence of you, and how can you take that? And if Kat and I wouldn't have had 20 years in entertainment, this whole find your rhythm component, it doesn't exist, because you can't start from nothing without being able to have that foundation. So, if you are coming from XY industry as a marketing exec, and then you're starting your own brand, you're obviously going to have a great opportunity because you understand what it takes. Len, who started Davi, he worked for Beats, right? So at the end of the day, just figure out what your gift is, what your USP is, and ride that, push it, and find people that will support you, meditate, and take it to the next level. Find the beat that moves you and move other people with that beat.
I love that. I love that. And guys, that is the Level Up with Kat and Lee. Guys, leave a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple Podcast. and on YouTube. We have made it to #1 in business in all categories. Actually, what was it? Yesterday or today, Emilio? Yesterday. Yeah, that's right, guys.
Oh my
right
God.
before September 1st.
Let's go.
So-
The pressure. I hope after this you don't go to #2. Damn it. If he has someone to blame, it'll be us.
No.
Congrats.
If
All love.
if
That's
anything, we'll
amazing.
stay there because of you guys.
Yeah, I love it. Amplify it.
So guys, make sure to reach out to Leah and Kat on Instagram. Make sure to check out their socials. We're going to drop it down in the description. And with that being said, guys, make sure to share this with somebody that you care about, that you love, that you want them to level up their mindset, because that's the first thing that it takes to go into anything that you want to do in
Yes.
life. You got to find your rhythm. My name is Paul Alex. This is The Level Up. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.